certificate, into bracket TCC, because it is a final tax as stated earlier. Therefore, the tax clearance certificate issued by GRA reflected his income earned for the period the tax certificate was issued. Thank you. Yours faithfully, Mrs. Kate Nto Kimbu, Sub-LTO Managers, for the Commissioner of Ghana Revenue Authority. Thank you very much. I will then proceed to acknowledge honorable members. I will then proceed. Order. I will then proceed to acknowledge our revered guests. First on the list is Mrs. Dorothy Mensah. Order. Let there be order. Please, Uma, let there be order. Please, Jerry, let there be order. Mrs. Dorothy Mensah, Mr. Philip Bright Mensah Jr., Bishop Dr. Abaka Wilson, Mr. Charles Aidan, Deputy Director of Finance, Judicial Service, Dr. Ebenezer Akwabente, Oketechie, Professor Amemfi, Umanhini, Asebu Traditional Area, Nana Amemfiwa, Queen Mother of Asebu Traditional Area, Nana Bochrewa Ikumbri, Ebusiapenyi, Nana Edweful, Nana Bochrewa Uchiami Kobina Minta, His Lordship Justice Anthony Henry Kofi, His Lordship Justice Christopher Archer, Her Ladyship Jennifer Abena-Dazi, His Lordship Jerome Noble Nkrumah, His Lordship Anthony Opon, His Lordship the Acting CJ Justice Paul Bafoboni. You are all welcome. Honorable, very well. I do not have the name of Justice Yoni Kulendis, but I have been informed that he is here. He's in a mask, so there's a difficulty recognizing him. I recognize the presence of Justice Yoni Kulendis, Justice of the Supreme Court. I'm also informed that Mrs. Bafoboni is also here. On my own behalf and on behalf of the committee, you are warmly welcome. Very well, I recognize all the Queen Mothers, those whose name I do not have here. There will be difficulty mentioning your name because I do not have your names here. Forgive me, you are also welcome. Honorable nominee, on behalf of the committee and on my own behalf, we thank you very much for attending upon the committee and providing answers to questions. We are also happy for your endurance. We've gone beyond the stated time, but bear with us. You will surely hear from the committee. You are hereby accordingly discharged.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to meet you. Thank you.
Supreme Court who came to provide support during his vetting. And so he is exchanging pleasantries with them. It's been quite a lengthy one of a vetting, if I should say, because the vetting process exceeded the stated time that was communicated with him. You heard earlier the chairperson actually acknowledging that and pleading for the extended period. But by way of just running you through really some of the things that have transpired over the last few hours, the vetting ended with a discussion on the bail conditions that are granted to persons who are arrested. The minority leader, who is the ranking on this committee, Alexander Afenyomarking, raised some questions about that, what he terms as onerous bail conditions, and Justice Philip Bright-Mensah responded to that by summarily making a point that if one is arrested and is charged and the bail conditions are seen to be onerous, the person has a right to go to the court to seek variation or to seek a review of such bail conditions. Then he makes the other point also about the fact that there must not be a situation where one is arrested and is kept or held in custody for that long, because when that happens, that person might not have the opportunity or the chance to prepare to defend himself in court over the said charges that have been preferred against him or her. And so that is where the vetting ended really. But there are other issues that came up earlier during the vetting process. One about, dual citizenship and the restrictions that come with it. The minority leader, the ranking on this committee, was seeking the knowledge of the Supreme Court nominee on what role the court can play in ensuring that there is some level of revision concerning dual citizenship and the restrictions that come with that. And he made a point, for instance, that if the country feels the need to amend the existing laws due to the kind of exigencies that we find ourselves in, or the status quo as it were, then there is that need, or there is no problem with reviewing the law to accommodate dual citizenship so that members of the country who are in the diaspora are able to make meaningful contributions to the running of the democracy and the progress of the country in a whole. But he also makes a point, sadly, that, if someone is in the diaspora and wants to return to come and contribute to the development of the country, that person can better do that coming back to the jurisdiction than staying somewhere else to do that. And so those were some of the things that came up. But the other issue on the tenure of president, as well as even the retirement age of judges, also came up. And so, starting from the latter, the retirement age of judges, especially justices of the Supreme Court, the question was posed to Justice Philip Bright-Mensah on whether there is a need to increase the number of, or the age from 70 to 75. He opposes that and makes the case that no, there is no need to adjust the retirement age of justices of the Supreme Court, for instance, from 70 to 75, and also continues to tackle the issue of the tenure of president, that the law, and as the Constitution stipulates, says that they have 2 terms. There is no ambiguity in that, and which means that there is no reason or need for a review of the law as it were and as it stands currently to bring about any change that may seek to elongate the tenure of president. And so that also came up. But he believes in the e-justice system that if there is anything that should be done, then there is a need for the executive to make that provision or to push for the investment in e-justice system, because that is one thing that he believes can help in fast-tracking a lot of the cases that come to the court. Because when you look at a lot of the law reports that have come over the years, you realize that even at the Supreme Court alone, there are a lot of cases that keep hanging, which would need to be, dealt with, but due to, the lack of, or due to the manual processes that are involved in, keeping the records and dealing with the cases, a lot of times the cases are pending. So there is that need for the e-justice system. But tied to this conversation actually on handling the cases is his recommendation for, at least an optimal number of 20 judges to be appointed to the Supreme Court. That is his recommendation. And also because of the point he makes about the fact that, the Supreme Court has a wide jurisdiction, or performs various jurisdictions, at least 7 of them. And so it means that increasing the number of justices on the bench becomes very necessary to ensure that all of those responsibilities are met, and then they are able to deal with all the cases that they need to deal with. And so, but another issue that came up, Eric, was about the issue of illegal mining and galamsey, and what role the court can play in ensuring that those cases are dealt with. We have heard in the past, for instance, comment by the AG and other government officials about that dedication of political.
That's my colleague Christian Yale, still in Parliament for us. We're expecting now that Justice Philip Bright-Mensah's vetting has concluded. Justice Jana Pare Bartels Kojo, she's one of the 2 women nominated by President Mahama to the Supreme Court and a justice of the Court of Appeal. She was appointed to the court in 2019 by then President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Justice Bartels Kojo is known for her judicial discipline and attempt to legal detail, building a reputation for impartiality and integrity on the bench. And a bit more on her, she's risen through the ranks, serving as a magistrate, a district court judge, a circuit court judge, a high court judge, and a justice of the Court of Appeal. Experience worth over 30 years at the bench. She will be next before the Appointments Committee, who are on a short break in anticipation of taking her next. And that is what will take us on to a much-deserved break for my colleague Christian Yale as well. We return here again with details of her vetting. Stay with us. This is TV3.